Yes, so it is 3 games unbeaten for Brentford, who started the season with that victory over Arsenal. They've since drawn their last 2 games against Crystal Palace and Brentford, and they got off to a good start. Ivan Toney, who we were hearing from there, scored his first goal of the season yesterday. It was a well-worked goal in the end for Brentford, who Dean Smith even pointed this out yesterday, that their goals have come from set pieces. It's a dangerous. It's one of the danger areas for Brentford in terms of productivity. And it came from a corner that was headed away, but Sergi Canos was the first one to the ball. He put the ball in. Pontus Jansson then flicked it on for Ivan Toney to fire it home. So great for Ivan Toney to get off the mark, because there will have been a bit of pressure. Not that he would say it because he's so cool and calm, but there would have been a bit of pressure on him to start delivering, wouldn't there?
Well, when you get numbers like he did in the previous season, yes. You've had an amazing away record for quite a long time. Is it 15, 16 games, something like that? Away from home, you haven't been beaten. I love the fact that another big centre forward has scored, because we've talked about Antonio. Calvert-Lewin has been doing it. Then I look at Ivan Toney. You've had your own sort of Ollie Watkins do sort of similar things. There's a common theme. Lukaku has joined the Premier League. There's a lot of big centre forwards coming back, which I'm really happy about. But the thing is that Brentford are a club that is incredibly well run, clearly from the top, because everything about them is a project where it feels everyone's on the same hymn sheet. That everything that's done within that football club seems to fit the way they go about their business and their performances from the manager. Yesterday, it sort of felt like a well-earned draw by both teams. You know, watching the game back, it really felt that both teams were delighted to take something from it. Brentford are a refreshing team that's come up and not gone away from what they're good at. That is set pieces. That is being quite direct when they need to be. The 2 centre halves have been brilliant. I think Pontus Jansson and Ethan Pinnock, have done brilliant at the heart of the defence. Arsenal would like to have 2 centre halves like that. You know, I know that Arsenal are going to get embarrassed by every time we comment on something that we're going to relate it back to Arsenal, but they'd love to have 2 centre halves that actually can stop things and kick balls and head them clear and be effective in the opposition's 18-yard box for set pieces.
But is that partly down to the fact that Pinnock and Jansson have been playing together regularly now? I mean, there were parts in last season where Jansson was injured, but they have been a regular partnership. Now you're adding in Christopher Ajer from Celtic, who signed in the summer. So admittedly, he's not played with those two before, but the fact that you've got a regular combination does help, which Arsenal maybe not have had.
Well, it does, Nat, but think of it this way, right? Brentford's forward line, you go back, a year and a bit ago, 18 months, and you go, it was Ollie Watkins, it was Mbeumo, and Ben Rama.
Yeah. 2
of them have gone, and the one that stayed, Mbeumo, hasn't faded away. He's still in the team. He's still performing for you.
Do you know what? It's interesting with him, though, because he didn't start last season particularly well, and you felt maybe he'd lost a bit of confidence, and probably because he's seen his teammates move on, and he's still at Brentford, and they've moved on to the Premier League. But this season, and he ended the season really strongly, and I think this season he started really, really well. He's shown a threat getting into spaces on the flanks and stuff.
Did it yesterday.
Yeah, and I think he's actually going to enjoy the Premier League a bit more because he's going to find himself in a bit more space.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, you've lost forwards and a number of them, but you've also lost other players in other positions, and your team still functions. And by the way, in some bizarre way, looks even better. It's not a coincidence what's happened at Brentford. It's been very hardly thought about how they're going to implement everything that they do at that football club. And I argue to, just look at, as a blueprint for any football club, look at Brentford. Now, they've had a new stadium, which is never a good idea, because most times you get a new stadium, it backfires with your results. It can be difficult. They've done that. They've sold good players. They've replaced them with players that absolutely fit in. It doesn't feel like the team has changed at all. And they're in the Premier League. And they've got, what now? You've got 5 points, yeah?
Yeah.
You come into, you haven't been beaten. You've played Crystal Palace, you've beat Arsenal, and you've obviously got a draw against Villa yesterday. And in all them performances, you didn't come away and think, you know what, they were really lucky. It doesn't feel like that one watching Brentford. It feels like they're actually being really competitive in the Premier League. And that's for a team that's fought for promotion for a number of seasons in the Championship, never got over the line. But they have got over the line, and now they're showing they're absolutely not out of place in the Premier League.
Well, let's hear from the Brentford head coach, Thomas Frank, because he spoke to us yesterday after the draw, saying how pleased he was by the performance of his players.
Happy with most of the performance. I felt we started the game brilliant. We're coming to Villa Park. We know it's a very difficult place to play. We're brave. We're pressing high. We're getting in front 1-0. We are keeping the pressure. And I actually felt, we're really on top of the game. And then one little miscommunication the first time, maybe in 3 games, where we, slightly opened up a bit, gave them the chance, and that's the quality of the Premier League. After that, even first half, second half, I felt we started better again the first 20-25 minutes, and there was more even in the last bit of the game. I felt, if there should have been a narrow winner, it should have been us. I like that we were brave, the way we attacked the game. Maybe we just lacked the final third, quality and composure. Again, there's a pattern from the last 2 games. I'd like us to be even more brave, even better, and I think we have more to go there.
It was interesting, actually, because I heard some more quotes from Thomas Frank yesterday talking about that quality in the final third. And he spoke about maybe there's a bit of a psychological hurdle that Brentford have to get over. Yes, they've made a good start to life in the Premier League, but going to Villa Park, I was quite concerned about going to Villa Park because we know the threats of Aston Villa. I thought this was perhaps going to be the toughest of the opening 3 games for us. But he talked about the psychological battle and perhaps not being able to have that killer instinct to finish a team off, let's say, because he was suggesting that maybe the Brentford players had gone to Villa Park, went ahead, then Villa scored to make it 1-1, and Brentford kind of maybe slightly settled for the draw rather than go for the win. Is that something you can understand where Thomas Frank is coming from?
Yeah, I do. Look,
for a team that's newly promoted.
Look, I was at Villa Park for just over a year, and I've always said Villa fans were the nicest fans I've ever played for. They were just great, But I think Villa Park has changed. I think there's a lot more demand from the terraces at Villa Park in recent seasons. The atmosphere, yes, you can quite clearly see it's rocking. You have to respect your opposition to some level. You can't go gun-ho and just give a game away. You don't want to be doing that, especially that Brentford played well enough to get something out of it. What I would take from the game is that if Ivan Toney really believes in himself, and I think he should, because he's confident boy, he's got a lot of goals, is that he bullied 2 defenders yesterday because Tuanzebe and Konza had a really difficult afternoon. He really made it hard for them.
Well, he did that against Arsenal as well, didn't he?
And that in itself, if he really believes, he will get goals and lead the line brilliantly for Brentford this season. Hey, West London's buzzing at the moment, isn't it? QPR, Fulham.
I know, it's not
Brentford.
bad. Yeah, Chelsea. I know, it's not too bad being in West London right now. What I will say is that coming up for Brentford, they've got Brighton and Wolves, and then there's a real test to come. Not that Brighton and Wolves won't be a test, but then there's Liverpool, West Ham, Chelsea and Leicester.
Oh. They're tough games, but
scary round of fixtures.
I like what I see of Brentford. I think there's a real team ethic and unity that is surpassing most people's expectation. But deep down, there are. I think when you're in sports sometimes, and I've been there myself in these scenarios, when you have to prove your worth and are you ready for this level, people they raise the bar. And I think that's happened at Brentford, where they're all thinking they have to prove themselves as Premier League players.
Yeah, Brentford 9th then in the table, unbeaten so far. Aston Villa are in 11th after 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss as well.
Weekend Sports Breakfast with Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Sunday mornings from 6 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.